Alright, so hello guys. Welcome to the live stream. Welcome to this video tutorial. I will be uploading this on YouTube once I completely edit it. We're going to be making a basic overlay today, something similar to this. I have a video on my channel that's sort of similar to this video you're seeing right now. However, that one is getting a lot of attention, and at the time I was very inexperienced at creating overlays. And I wasn't really too good at explaining on how to do it because I received a lot of comments from you guys right there, that you don't understand how to do it. So, gonna do my very best to try to explain everything. We'll go into as much details as possible. So this is what we're gonna create. I don't know if you guys can see this. It's gonna be everything you see right here. This is just a basic tutorial. In the future, we'll do some more intermediate tutorials and advanced tutorials, like, let's see, thumbnails, no, not thumbnails, I meant overlays. Where's my overlays at? Look how many overlays we made. Oh my god, look at all these overlays, dude. Got overlays for everybody. Webcams, yo, we can make like webcams like this. I don't know if you guys are interested in webcams like this. We made this for Segi, but it's just an experimental one. We'll get a lot of tutorials in the future, alright? But just for today, we'll do this. So, first things first, open up your Photoshop. Start a new canvas. Now, you want your width to be 1920 by 1080 for 1080p. Your resolution to be 300. You guys following along? Come on! Get your Photoshops out! No, I'm kidding. So you start with a width of 1920, height 1080, and resolution of 300. Go ahead and create. So here you have a blank canvas. Your Photoshop crashed, dude? Oh, see you later, dude. Tutorial's over. Alright, I'm gonna create another layer down here and delete our layer 0. Now, let me see if I can do this. I can show you how it worked. So before, when you first open up the canvas, you have a lock section right here. Just unlock it by clicking the lock. Create a new layer right here. And just go down here to layer 0 and delete this layer by hitting the delete key on your keyboard. I have my webcam right here too, so you guys can see whatever I press, hopefully. What do we want to do? Basically, we want to get a picture. We want to use some pictures, right? Let me find a quick picture. You won't see this on the stream. There we go. All right, we'll have that for now. Okay, first things first. Woo! Professional tutorial already going bad. You want to go to your bucket tool right here. You can press G on your keyboard as well. Go ahead, open a new layer, and then just click anywhere on your canvas, right? Doesn't matter what color it is, black, red, green, whatever you have. You just need something in the back. You just basically just need a backdrop. So you go to blending options. You could leave it red if you want. It doesn't really matter. You could go to color overlay, choose whatever specific color you want. We're gonna go for like a nice pinkish color, but just the pink background is kind of bland. So what we generally do is make a gradient. And in your blending options, you have a gradient section called gradient overlay right here. And what we're gonna do is change the gradients. So we're just gonna use 2 colors. If I could get 2 colors, please. So the first color is going to be like a light pinkish color, like right there. And then the second color is going to be like a darker pink, you know? Or should we go with like that, you know? White? Come on, bro. Yo, who said black? Who said black? All right, I like to go with an angle. So if you guys see right here, right? For my gradient, it's going from light to dark, but in like a 90-degree angle. What I like to do is make it diagonal. So in the angle right here, I put it to 125 degrees. So it's coming from like a diagonal. So like if you look at my webcam, it's going like this way. So the pink's gonna go darker from left to right. And then the scale, I like to leave it at 100%. So that basically it covers the whole entire picture. Now we got a background. What we wanna do next is make the border for our game. So to make this border right here, usually people play this game at 1920 by 1080, 1600 by 900, 1280 by 720. It's all the same. So on your left side, we have this tool. It's called the shape tool, and you can switch to any shape you want. However, we are using a rectangle tool. Go ahead and click your rectangle tool. Click anywhere on the canvas. And then you'll have this thing that pops up saying create rectangle. For your width, let's just do 1280 by 720. You could always readjust it. Click OK. So I get a lot of comments from this. Hey Ace, when I use a rectangle tool, all I just get is a big blob. And the reason for that is, if you look at your live shape properties on the right side right here, you have to change two formats. Basically the background and the border. So first things first, you see that we have this big red blob. Change anything you want. Basically, I would like to make it transparent. So right here, it's like a white box with a red line diagonal. Click that, and it'll make it transparent, okay? On the right side, you have another transparent, but you want that to be a color. I'll just put it black. All right, so now we have this. If I press enter, we have this black rectangle box. It's only 1 pixel though, so no one's gonna use this for the game. They're not gonna be like, oh yeah, I'll use this for my game because it's a perfect size, perfect box. Nah, that's not gonna work out. Let's make it 10 pixels, okay? If you change the pixels right here to 10, you can see that the border is a lot bigger. You can see it's more thick because I know how much you guys love thick stuff. This is not how big the game overlay is gonna be. You can make it bigger while keeping the aspect ratio of 16 by 9. Go to your rectangle tool, hold Control T to free transform the shape. While holding Shift, you can, hold on, my mouse is like pretty bad too. You can change the shape of it, like the width and the height, but keeping the aspect ratio. So you can make it this big, you can make it that small. Like no matter how I move it, I'll keep the aspect ratio, okay? If you don't hold Shift, it changes everything. The aspect ratio, the width, the height, and you lose basically your game overlay. So you can't really see what's going on. So if I make it like this, oh, maybe I'll just do it like this, right? And you go and put it on your OBS, and then you put your game on, it's not gonna fit. So let's go ahead and Control Z, hold Shift, and then drag the corner of the box to how big you think you want your game to be. Normally, I'll put it like this big. If anything, we can always go back and fix it. Okay, so we got the game box. Next thing we want to do, I don't know if you guys like having a chat box, but we'll make a chat box. You can go ahead and go create another rectangle tool, but instead of doing that over and over, I'll show you guys a shortcut. Just go to your rectangle that you have right now, the one that we just made. Go to that layer and hold Control J to create another copy of it. So now you have another copy of this. And if I hold Control T, you'll see that I have a second one. Since this is going to be the chat, I'm going to drag this over here. You can also use your arrow keys to move things along. And I like to make everything symmetrical. So I'll just drag this like right here. And I'll put it like down here, okay? And what I did right there is hold Control and a plus on your keyboard. This is basically like a magnifying glass. If you press minus, if you press plus, plus to go in, minus to zoom out. So I'm gonna hold Control plus to zoom in. While holding spacebar, I switch to my hand tool, and wherever I drag will let me drag anywhere across the canvas. I hope you guys are understanding what I'm saying. So I want to make this even all around, so I'm gonna zoom in and out a lot of times. Hold Control T, and then changing the shape of this, just to make sure everything's even, you know? Like I want the top, the right, the left, everything to have like the same amount of spacing. It doesn't have to be exact, but as long as it looks nice, that's all that really matters, you know what I mean? Depending on what Photoshop version you use, there's a little guideline, so no matter where you move it, you have like this little, you probably won't see it right here, but no matter where you move it, it'll give you like a little guideline ruler, so that you don't like basically say, for example, oh, I accidentally move it on top a little too much, or oops, I put it a little too low. The guideline will help you keep everything intact. Okay, so now we have a game box, a chat box. Most of you guys don't really use webcams, but I'll just make it, because why not? We're gonna go back to our original. Let's name everything, okay? To name stuff, basically go to your layer box, and rectangle 1, I'm gonna double click it to rename it. You can also right click to rename, but double clicking is a lot easier. I'm gonna change that to game box. on top right here. I'm gonna change that to chat box. All right, and for game box, what I'm gonna do is do Control J to make a copy of this, and this is gonna be our webcam box. So what I'm gonna do is the same concept as the chat box, but for the webcam box, I'm gonna drag this down here, hold shift because our webcam is always gonna be 1280 by 720, or if I don't know if you guys like square webcams, hey, it's all up to you, but 16 by 9 is the best aspect ratio if you want 1080p stuff. So just to make sure, I want this and this to line up, so I'll drag it to the right until I see that little guideline you can see right there. And then now that I know it's all the way to the right, I just hold Control T to free transform it, use my arrow keys to move it around, and right there, okay? So that's gonna be our webcam. Now, you can see that this is overlapping this. Basically, we want the webcam to overlap the game box. But before we do that, we're gonna do something else first. We're gonna take this photo right here, wherever she is, we already have her, and just drag it in here. Hello, it's her. Now I'll upload it to like Mediafire or something so you guys can download this picture too. Once you download it, all you guys gotta do is just drag the image into the Photoshop from either your documents, your pictures, wherever you saved it. Control T on the image and then hold shift on the corners. You could change the size of it while keeping the aspect ratio. I'm gonna put her like right here. Now you can see that it's a little overlapped, like she's overlapping the chat box. I'm gonna change the song. All right, we'll play the song. And basically, once you understand layers, all you just gotta do is just drag under it. So I'm just gonna put it under the chat box so that her legs, her knees are below the chat box. How do you rotate image in MS Paint? Yo, we're not using MS Paint over here, bro. All right. So there we go. Now we have the girl. What I like to do is make it so that there's like no pixels showing like earlier. Let me show you. Control Z. Let me open up my history. So right here, you see how there's like a little spacing. I don't really like that. So what I'll do is Control T and just move her around, move her a little bit lower. And then now you see like her legs is not showing. So I'm just gonna Control T, hold shift, drag the corners a little bit bigger like that. And now you see, now her legs are covered, her knees are covered, and that's pretty much covered. A little bit of this, I could just go ahead. What I'm using is my selection tool. Just hold M, go over right here, right click, and make sure it's rectangle marquee. And then I'm just gonna delete this basically. Anything that you select, you can delete. So like that. Since we had like a little bit of her knee sticking out, I'm just gonna delete that using the selection tool. Zoom in on her legs. Is that what you guys want? Is this all you guys came for? Just. All right. So now we got that, right? Okay. Now what we can do next is, since this is gonna be like an OSU tutorial, I'll show you guys how the OSU stuff works. So I'm gonna go and take an OSU image. You know, you can find a logo on Google anywhere. I have it saved up right here. I'm just gonna drag the logo in here. Same concept. Press enter. Now hold shift, drag the corners, and make it smaller, right? I'm just gonna put it like right here. Right here in the middle, okay? And then we're gonna put like our name tag, you know, everything like that. Okay. So we have basically the outline of everything. We have the image, we have the game box, the webcam, the chat, and the logo. So you can see that the webcam and the game box collide with each other. And basically we want the webcam to overlap the game box. For game box, just rasterize it. That's the easiest way to do it. Rasterize layer. It's not going to be a shape anymore. It's just going to be an image. So now I could just like do anything I want. I could delete, erase. That's the fun of rasterizing. So with rasterizing, once we rasterize that, we could just literally delete this like that. Wow, easy. So now you have the webcam over the game box. Next, what we want to do is make the webcam as well as the game box transparent. And to do that, so for your webcam, hold control and just click your webcam, all right? Now it'll automatically make a selection of your webcam. You could go to your layer for your background image and just delete it like that. Easy. So now the webcam is transparent. So press M, get your selection tool for your rectangle, and just make a rectangle of where you want to delete. So basically, if I zoom in, you can see like it's selecting everything inside the box. And then I'm just going to delete that. Bloop, like that, see? Now that's transparent, this is transparent. We could change the colors of the border. So for example, I'm going to change the game box. So this layer right here, what we're going to do is click that layer, right click, go to blending options, and then so you could change it using gradient. If you guys want to be experimental, you could make it so like it goes from a lighter color to a darker color. Since this is a basic tutorial, we're just going to do a color overlay, okay? This color is going to be like a dark reddish color. Let's say, or pink. Pink's nice, you know, pinks. We could go with like double layers of pink, but who uses pink overlays anyways, you know? Let's say something that doesn't stand out too much, you know? So like that color, why not? Have some fun, color overlay in blending options. What I like to do as well is add a stroke. Click this right here to add a stroke. Basically what it does is just gives the border like a little outline. We want to make that 1 pixel. So right here for your size, like say for example, if I make it 5 pixel, you can see like the border gets a lot thicker. If I make it 1 pixel, it makes it, I don't know, it's up to you guys. You can make it as thick as you want, you know? Have some fun, experiment. That's the fun part about making your own stuff. So I generally go with 1 pixel. 1 pixel, please. And then down here, since that border is black, we could change it to any color we want. So I'm gonna make it white, okay? White or black? We're going with white. So now we have a white border right there. And you're like, oh, okay, that's a white border. But it's kind of bland, you know? Even though this is a basic tutorial, I'll show you how to make it even more nice by making it stand out. So going back to your blending options, we already have stroke and we have a color overlay. We're gonna do a drop shadow to give it like a 3D type of effect to it. And I just realized that my chat froze, so give me 1 second. Bloop. Okay, so drop shadow, okay? We have like this little shadow behind the border. It's gonna give it like a little 3D effect. We're gonna go to the option. Same concept. We're going to make the angle of the shadow diagonal. If I make it 90 degrees, basically the shadow is going to come down. If I put it 125 degrees, it'll come diagonally. So it'll go from top left to bottom right. So as you can see right there, we don't want the opacity to be 75. If I make it 100, basically it's just going to put another black shadow, I would say. And what we're going to do to fix that is make the opacity 50% so it's not too black. And as you can see, it's just a shadow, you know, not too dark. You got a little nice 3D effect going on for your border. And the distance, I usually keep it at 10, spread 5, and size 0. Click OK. All right. If you have some stuff sticking out like that, that's totally fine, because we could just delete it. There we go. Like, bloop. There we go. We're gonna do the same thing with the other boxes, but instead of doing it one by one, I'll show you guys a simple shortcut. Right click the one that you made. So for example, for this game box, since we already put the layer styles, for stroke, color overlay, as well as drop shadow, we're gonna just right click it, copy layer styles, and then for the other rectangles, all we gotta do is just paste layer style. Look how easy that is. See? Save all the work of having to go one by one when we could just make it do it for us. Easy, right? So now we have the game box, the webcam, and the chat box. Since when are shadows not black, says Kachula, we can make the shadows white. If you guys are having a big deal with that, let's go ahead and make the shadow white real quick and see what happens. This is why we don't make the shadows white, okay? Because it looks like this. Do you guys want your shadows to look like that? No. Black looks a lot better, okay? Black is the way to go. Black is the new white. There we go. Okay. So if you look at everything else, we have another drop shadow for the chat box. See, this drop shadow makes everything stand out more. If I didn't have a drop shadow, you know what it would look like? This is what it would look like. It would just look like a flat box on an image, okay? It adds another layer of depth into the overlay. It's art. You know what I mean? Okay. Alright, sipping my coffee. Break time, guys. Alright, what we're gonna do next is take this female right here. Hello. And we're gonna add some layer styles to her. Hello there. Just right click her, blending options. Have some fun, guys. You could put a stroke. We don't want females to have strokes because they're waifus. So just go ahead and add a drop shadow, okay? Now, depending on the image, it's not gonna work out like how rectangles work out. So you're just gonna have to play around with it. I still use the angle of 125. The distance, instead of being 10, you see how the shadow's too far from her now? We try to make the shadow a little bit more closer to her, just to make it more realistic, okay? So you gotta play around with the distance. If 3 looks good to you, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, now you're starting to over-exaggerate the shadow. So let's just go back down to 5. 5 seems like the perfect number. Spread, you can make the spread as big as you want. Hello, spread? Oh, it's because of the size. The reason why I put the size at 0 is to make the shadow as thick as possible. If you increase the size of the shadow, it'll just blur it out. So if I put 10 for shadow, it still has a shadow effect, but it just looks like it's like a blurred shadow, you know what I mean? It doesn't look nice. You could fix it by changing the spread, but still, it doesn't work. You need to make your size 0. And then just change the spread automatically, okay? So distance 5, size 0. That's mostly, spread doesn't really matter. It's only distance and size. Mostly size. Size matter, okay? Alright, click OK. We got that. Let's look at her again, because once we change the layer styles, you see things are a little too messed up. You see that this is covering some of the borders on the game. So all we just gotta do, Control T again to free transform, and just move her to the left or to the right, just so that's not covering the border. Okay? Okay, we got that. Wow, looking good so far. What we're gonna do next is add a backdrop. So we have 2 depths of field here with the game box, the layers, the rectangles, being on top of more layers with the shadow effect to make it more, how would I say it? It just makes things stand out a lot more, okay? You can see everything individually. If we didn't have it, it would just look like it's on one flat paper. It's going from 2-dimensional to 3-dimensional. Do you guys prefer 2D girls or 3D girls? Most of you are going to say 2D girls because you guys are weird. Alright. If I put this as a chat, that's totally fine. You can use this as a chat. But when you put like messages on here, it's going to be a little bit too hard to read, okay? So what I'm going to do is make it a little dimmer. To do this, I'm just going to create a new layer right here. See this button right here? New layer, what we did in the beginning. I'm going to name this layer screen, okay? Chat box. Just hold control, click the chat box thumbnail to highlight it. go back to your screen. And what we want to do is press G to go to our paint bucket tool. I'm going to change the color to, you guys guessed it, black. Click enter. Oh no, Ace, what happened? The whole chat box is black. Don't worry, don't worry. What we're going to do is first drag the screen all the way to the bottom. So it's like that. So now we have this thing, what do you call this? The chat box. Hey, so you can talk on Snapchat? Dude, I'm talking to you guys right now. Alright, so having the screen at the bottom of the layers, you can see that we can see the chat box now. And this is too black. Having black stuff is nice, but having it too black makes things a little bit too difficult for us. Alright, jokes aside, what we're going to do to make the chat more easier to read is just changing the opacity. So just play around. I usually go with 50%, 75% if you really want to read the messages. But 50% works, you know? Actually, 75% is nice. Yo, the darker the better. The blacker the better. Oh, we're getting there. Ender already knows, bro. Ender's already... Dude, Ender is steps away of you guys already. Okay. So, as Ender said, we're going to add a pattern overlay. It's what I created. It's my way of making overlays, and I see a lot of people doing it now, which is pretty cool. So, my overlays tutorial is changing the world one overlay at a time. Now, to do a pattern, you can see our backdrop, you know, the little pink thing. Oh, it's nice, you know, it's a nice gradient effect, but it's just too bland, you know? Things are basic, but it's too basic. Let's make it a lot nicer. We're gonna copy our backdrop, this thing right here. Control J to make another copy. Hello, hello, we have 2 copies now. Doing this, we're gonna go to our blending options with the second copy. We're gonna take these off. Okay, take all the blending options off. Let's make that 100%. And we're gonna go to pattern overlay. Click on pattern overlay. Change the pattern to diagonal. And then change the scale to 75. Okay, you probably can't see anything yet. That's totally fine. Oh, opacity has to be 100% though. Alright, there you go. Now you can see it. It's like, oh, Ace, what's this? That looks weird. Don't worry. Don't worry, we'll fix it. Doesn't matter if this is normal. Doesn't matter if it's screen. I usually keep it at screen. The reason why I keep it at screen is because what happened to the game box shadow? The game box. Oh, I think I removed the shadow. Oh, thanks name. There you go. Hey, it's back. Thanks, this guy. What a helpful guy. Oh, that rhyme. Oh, let's go. Okay. All right, blending options. I gotta do that all over again. Oh no. All right. Take off these blending options and go to pattern overlay. Do what we just did. Diagonal, 100% opacity. Scale, we're gonna put it 75. The reason why I put it 75, scaling just shows how many of the patterns you want. The higher the scale percentage, the bigger the pattern. Wow, if you guys really like your patterns to be like that, go right ahead. I'm not gonna judge you. You guys can do whatever you want, but for me, I usually put it 75%. See, like that? Yeah, let's do it. All right. Then click OK. There we go. Now what we do is go to this right here where it says normal and switch that to overlay. Okay? So if I take that off, it's gonna have like a little, it's like a screen effect to it, right? But with the overlay. And then we're gonna change the opacity. Let me click enter first. Change the opacity to 20%. So basically, you won't really see much of a difference unless you're looking at it yourself. You basically get the backdrop, but now you have like this pattern that's a little transparent, but it's still noticeable. It's the little things that makes things a lot better, okay? That's it. So now we got that. You won't see it in the stream, I can guarantee you guys, unless I zoom in all the way. But if you're doing this yourself and you're making your own overlays, you can see how much of a difference it makes. Now we have the game box, the webcam. the chat box, and the logo. I usually keep the logo the same. I don't want it to stand out too much because it's just, you know, a logo. It'll be in the background. I don't really like this color too much because I want it to be kind of like this. So I like this type of color. I can see now that it's like a dark bluish to a light beige color, and it was never pink to begin with. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna steal it. Let me see right here. Hello, hello. Can I steal your gradient overlay colors, please? Ready? This is, you'd be like, Ace, you're such a cheater. But you know what? I don't even care. All right. This color is B4AAC4. So I'm going to take that first. Thank you, thank you. Blending options, and I'm going to change the gradient, starting with this one. It's going to be what we stole earlier. And now I'm going to go over here. And you can just use your eyedropper tools, all the same. Eyedropper. So, right here. And double click this to get the HTML. And now we're going to go back to our blending options. And we're just going to add that to the right side. Hello, hello. There we go. Hey, we did not just steal the gradient codes from this one to this one because I forgot. But there we go. I like that color. Makes it stand out a lot more and a lot better. Whew. Almost there, guys. Almost done. Not bad. Ace, what's the music? Look. Uh-oh. Hold on. Hold on. I'll fix it. Now playing. Properties. Nightbot. Current song. The song's called... Here, I'll copy a link. Oh, I can't even copy that. Here's the song, guys. Enjoy. You guys want to hear it again? Let's start it from the beginning. This is a good song. I'll raise it up for you guys, too. There you go. Yo, Quacky might get a mod, dude. Quacky might get mod, dude. I'm telling you that right now. Alright. So, you know, we got the logo. We want people to know what our OC username is. What we're gonna do is press T on our keyboard. This is gonna take out the text. So once you have this, it's gonna highlight text and just click anywhere. Right there, you're gonna have like a little flashing line. Whatever you type, you can see it right there. All right. So whatever your username, your game tag, just type it in. All right. So example, Project Ace. Why not? Play around. You could change the font. You could use this font. You could use any font. This font's called, hold on, let me make this a little brighter. Blending options, color overlay, hello. And then just make that white. You can leave it that font. This font's called Distant Stroke. Sometimes I go for Champagne and Limousines. That's not Champagne. This is Champagne and Limousines. You could go with Morning Star. You could go with Early Bird. You could go with Nexa. There's so many nice fonts. Just Google specific fonts that you want to use. It's fun to play around with. Let's go with my usual Champagne and Limousines. You know, we're keeping it basic, keeping things clean and sleek. So now we have the text, right? Oh wow, Ace. It's pretty bland. I know. That's why we have blending options. Throw a drop shadow on there, you know? Change the distance. Let's make it 5. We'll make that 50% opacity. Add a stroke if you want to. Who knows? You can play around. Put one. You can change that color. We'll make it pink, you know? Wow. Ace, how'd you do that? I'll show you guys one more time. Alright, let's clear the layer style, right? You make the text. It's bland. Oh no. Right click, blending options. Color overlay. We want that to be white. Drop shadow. We want that to be an angle of 125. Opacity is 50%. Distance is 5. Go to your strokes. Make sure your stroke size is 1 pixel. And then for the stroke is basically just a border. Put whatever color you want. I like to make it match the game border. There we go. Now you get that. Look. Wow. That's basically it. It's while you're talking alone, you forgot to live stream. It's okay. I'm talking to myself. And that is how you create a basic overlay for your live streams. You could add more rectangles. Say if you want a now playing section, just make a rectangle. Have fun, you know? I show you guys how to make rectangles for everything. Yo, what's up, Casper? And that is how you create a basic tutorial for YouTube without having to record it by yourself, because I was planning on recording it without streaming it and I was having so much trouble. I kept slurring my words because when you're like not talking to anybody, it's more harder to record things unless you're reading off a script, you know what I mean? But if I'm streaming, it gives me the idea where I'm actually talking to someone even though I'm not really answering you guys. So that's it, you know? If you guys have any questions, leave it in the comments, because I'm uploading this video on YouTube. If you guys are having trouble, slow down the video, put it at 50% for the speed, 0.5. Just copy what I do. Try not to watch the video first, and then go in Photoshop and try everything yourself. And if you do exactly what I do, you might learn something new, and you could probably do it yourself. Hey! Now, I didn't mean to clap that loud. We are going to jump into an intermediate tutorial.